Oh, no, don't
Okay,
do
okay.
wait till we go, man. Wait till we go, all right? That's what we want to be about.
Okay.
We're good? All right, let me get live over here and we'll be set, everybody. All right. Oh, come on, Anthony. We got the storm going on right now. And we got this guest everybody's been asking for. So this is great. I'll go live over on this. Great stuff. They look great on here. This is awesome. Mayra Uribe. That's
right.
it. I got it. I pronounced it wrong on this show a couple of times, but
not you boo-boo though, right?
I know, but at least I told you straight up here. It's good to finally meet you. You just came in a few minutes ago. Everyone's been very kind. We appreciate it, okay? For those of you who don't know the guest that's right here in front of me, excited to have her on as we can talk a lot about Orange County on the show and Orlando. We'll be talking about both, as I'm not sure if you ever knew this, but Orlando's part of Orange County, everybody. You've held a position in District 3 for almost 8 years right now. And for those of you who are not aware, there are 6 commissioners. Then we got the mayor as well. I want to say this. For people who are not aware, when they think about mayor of Orlando or mayor, they may think Orlando
all the time.
But when you're actually running to be mayor of Orange County, and right now it is a tightly contested race. Right. In fact, everything that I could find shows that there's not a lot of polling for the last month. I mean, even though there was a debate, I haven't seen anything that's come out yet to show me where the numbers have moved since that time that's reliable. Have you found the same thing?
We have. The only thing we really found is like 40% of the population doesn't know who they want to vote for yet.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And probably what brings you to the show here today, okay? And we appreciate it.
Well, I'm a big fan, by the way.
Thanks.
So I like the show. I've enjoyed the conversations I've got to hear. So,
well, let's have a good conversation here today, all right? I think that one of the things people want to know about right off the bat, last week, let's talk about Amendment 3, because your opponents have taken a position on Amendment 3. What is the name of this one, Anthony? The no excessive taxes on your home or something like crazy.
The homestead.
Yeah, it's the homestead exemption bill, right? They need to change that name though, because it's pretty leading to say the least. All right.
Right.
But I want to dive into this because all 3 of your opponents have said, or one said yes. Messina, I believe, said yes. 2 of your opponents said no on it. From what I can find, we're a little bit undecided. Can you tell us right now, if you were voting today on this one way or the other, where you stand?
Well, for me, it's a bit tough because off the surface, it's a no, but there's a difference here. If it passes, Orange County will be all right because they got a lot of money. And the only reason why I'm a no is because I worry about the fire and police part of it. They got handicapped in that law. So they protected the schools, but they didn't protect fire and police. And if anyone who knows me, I'm number 1 when it comes to law enforcement and fire. And I've actually been endorsed by fire, police, and corrections. So that's the one part of the law that really worries me, because there's no room to protect the MSBU for the sheriff or fire at all.
Okay, help me understand, and for our audience to understand Amendment 3. As I said a minute ago, what it's doing is it will reduce the amount of money that the county takes in. Right? Now, I've got a quote here from you, and it was something along the lines of, there's a lot of ability to cut, and you're referring to the county level. You've been a part of the county level. What are the areas of your mayor that we cut in Orange County?
So there's a lot to cut. When I first became elected, our budget was $4.5 billion, okay, which is insane. And now it's $9 billion, right? In 8 years. Now people are like, how did we grow that much? Well, you have to remember there was COVID. And during COVID, we got a lot of federal money. So normally when you get an influx of money, just as a normal person, you take it in, you hopefully do some good things with it. And then you learn to get back to your budget. It's kind of like you got a bonus, right?
Okay.
You go through your bonus and then you're like, all right, I'm back on my regular pay. Well, that never happened at the Orange County, but somehow they've managed to just keep spending and spending and spending. Let me tell you, one of the things in Orange County, they're very staff heavy. I mean, we're talking 8,000 employees. Staff members have assistants and assistants have assistants. But here's my biggest thing is nothing's improved with all that amount of extra money. And that's my biggest problem. If you and I could sit here and say, man, look what we've done. Man, we've done this. We created a new highway. We've done this. We've done that. Then we'd be able to say, you know what? That money shows here. But you can't see that. And every year they go and get more and more. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, boat docks. I live on a lake. I love living on my lake. I don't have a boat dock, but that's because we chose not to. But in Orange County, you pay $182 for a permit, and they kind of process your paper. Seems reasonable, right?
Okay.
Seminole County, it's $75. Osceola, it's $50. City of Orlando, it's like $100, and Apopka, right? They just raised a boat dock permit fee from $182 from anywhere between $1,800 and $4,300 for the same permit.
Wow.
And I'm like, what are you doing? I voted no on it, right? I'm like, what are you doing? Well, they're like, well, it takes long to do it. And I'm like, before you came and increased the cost, what did you guys try to do better and streamline it and make it faster and easier? How is it that you're just going in and saying, I just need more money? Right. That's the most back. I'm an old school girl. I'm a local girl, born and raised here. I guess I call myself a blue collar family. My parents worked real hard. My parents are immigrants, but they got here legally. My dad came in this country with a green card because he's a civil engineer. My mom came in with a green card. She's from Argentina, and she worked with children with cerebral palsy. They came in the right way, checked in, were professionals, and stayed in this country. Raised me, moved to Orlando in the 70s, early 70s. I was born here. I'm so homegrown. I've only moved once in my life. That's the house I grew up in with my parents to the house I bought with my husband. And that's it. Okay. So every penny, my parents' success, their push to get me to go to college, to get me where I'm at, has been off being smart on how you function with your money and how you make it happen. Okay. And it seems government never takes into account that that's not your money. That's the people's money. And I have a big issue with that. Okay.
Let me push back on that a little bit. Okay. You've been a part of the commissioner for eight years.
Almost.
So there's a lot of budgets in there that you've had to approve or at least be a part of. Where have you fallen on that? Because right now I know you're leaving the commissioner seat. And I think sometimes it can be easy to look back and go, we didn't do things right, or there were things I could have done different, or the commission didn't do them right at all. But you were a part of that, right? And I would be unfair if I didn't ask, do you look back on any time there on votes that you took and say, I should have taken a harder line against what we approved at the county level?
So I'm really proud of this. I did.
Okay.
For the last 3 years, I have voted no on this increase. I have voted no against transportation impact fee increases. I voted no against storm drainage impact fees. I voted no against Visit Orlando twice because they get way too much money. I've actually been that lone no, and I've said why. I've actually said it, like Visit Orlando, it's too much money. And you know what happened when somebody gets too much money? They waste it. And what did we find out? They wasted it. They wasted $20 to $40 million. How do you waste that much money? Yeah. So I'm actually the lone commissioner that has fought back. And it's one of the reasons why I'm running for mayor, because I have fought back, and my entire board, there's 7 of us. Yeah. My entire board has just gone along. And I've been the disruptor, saying no. And I can make no happen more as mayor, but I have been a voice to say no.
When I do my little bit of research on you and I look down the list of commissioners, okay, I see the D next to your name, all Democrat. All right. That's what, so I look at this, right. Where do you fall when it comes to the party lines? Do you identify as a Democrat, a Republican, a conservative, liberal? I don't know you. So I'm asking this question honestly. How do you feel about it? Where do you fall in this whole category?
Well, for me, honestly, I told you I'm born and raised here. Yeah. I'm married 24 years. I have 2 kids, my daughter Faith, and I have my little boy. And my daughter's 22, and I have a little boy who just turned 9. His name is Lincoln, right? They're my heart. I'm a devout Catholic, born and raised Catholic. My kids go to Catholic school, and I'm proud of that. And I've always thought that this is a problem what's going on with government now, is that we get distracted by these labels. But I will tell you, and I challenge anyone, and I've had people research me. You go on my social media and you go prior to me even getting elected. I have never spoken about politics or sides or this person or that person or ever championed on the line for or against anyone. I got appointed by Governor DeSantis. Okay. I'm a D. You just said it. There's a D next to my name. Yeah. Governor DeSantis appointed me 2 years ago to a board called the 2055 Florida Transportation Plan. And I serve representing Central Florida. Not only that, with the DOT secretary and the governor's approval, I chair all 67 counties in the state of Florida for transportation. You don't get that done by being a radical. You get that done by doing good government, working across party lines, and actually getting stuff done. And actually, I tell people all the time, who I vote for, that's my thing. I leave my politics at home. My job should never have politics in it. And you won't see me endorsing candidates. You won't even see me asking for other politicians to approve what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who have endorsed me, Orange County deputies, Orange County firefighters, Orange County corrections.
Is there a part of you that ever wants to be a little bit more radical? And I ask this honestly, because it seems like that's how the attention gets garnered, right?
Yeah.
We live in a society right now where having middle of the road, common sense ways of looking at things, or not always taking one side, tends to get a little boring to people, right? Have you ever thought about, hey, listen, you know what? I'm just going to start being a little bit more eccentric in my votes and a little bit more out there? Or is your personality who you are?
This is me.
That's
And this
you.
is why people don't, I will say very radical people don't like me because
Okay.
they want me to be radical. And then with all honesty, I get people on the Republican side who are like, are you sure you're not one of us? And I'm like, why is it wrong to be a common sense person?
Yeah.
Like I tell people, I am never going to apologize for being a God-fearing woman. Okay. I will never apologize for having God in my life. My daughter's name is Faith. You know, I have a Lincoln. Heck, I even have a Roosevelt as my dog. And I used to have a Kennedy. You know, that's who we are. We're so American that this is who we are. This is what my parents raised me to be. And this is where I think things have gone wrong. My parents came to this country, and you know where they met? In English class, because they were no longer in their country and they were in America and they needed to learn the language.
Mm-hmm.
And when they raised me to respect this country, to respect authority, and to respect God. I'm not going to apologize for that. And I will tell people all the time, that's who I am. It didn't just start. It goes way back. Because see, there was Mayra before. Commissioner is something I do. It's not who I am. And that's why I told you, call me Mayra. When I die, if I'm known for being Commissioner Uribe, I've done some really bad things in my life.
I think that's a good way to look at it. I do see everybody's questions are coming through. We have some great questions that are coming through, and I do see them, everybody. I will be getting to them in just a moment later on in the interview we have right now. Mayra Uribe, okay? I'm going to get it. I keep on pronouncing your name, and forgive me, Mayra, okay? And I'm not very good at this. So for everyone who thinks, like, for instance, I'll tell you, I can identify with where you're coming from, the common sense side. I'm not a politician. I tend to have the show somehow has turned into politics, I guess, because I seem to have some people have some political influence on the show. But for anybody who believes that I somehow like know everything about Orange County and Orlando politics and boards and commissioners, you are sadly mistaken. I think part of what makes our show good here is that I'm trying to approach this from you like an average citizen would and go, I don't know the answers to this, so maybe you can help me out on this. One of the things I saw when I was researching you is your focus on housing. It seems to be something that's very important to you. I want to back into everything we agree on with the TDT and all that stuff. But explain to me, if you can, and to our listeners and viewers about your view, your vision for housing in Orange County.
So number one, my husband's in construction. Okay. So I'm a wife of a contractor. We've had our own business as long as I've been married. He's a fourth generation. The county and government as a whole is the biggest problem we have when it comes to housing. Because when you submit a permit and you want to build a house and it takes you up to 2 to 3 years to get it done, what do you expect it's going to cost?
Yeah.
I tell people when the government takes that long, and you know, if you're a contractor out there, because we'll know, you buy the land, you pay the impact fee, you're buying material, you're buying labor, you're waiting for permits, you're waiting for COs, you're waiting for connectivity for utilities and all that kind of stuff. And it takes you all that long. Who do you think is footing the bill for all that while you're waiting? All those taxes year after year, all those permits, all their fees. And if I'm building a house, I'm not a nonprofit. I'm building it because it's a business. So I got to make my money. So it's either going to be on the front end because you're going to expedite the process, or it's going to be on the back end on the consumer. And what happens? A consumer, I talk to developers all the time. And I say, why can't you build like a 1,800 square foot home so it could be more affordable? And you know what they say? They said, Mayra, if I build a 5,000 square foot home or a 1,600 square foot home. And it takes me the same amount of time because the government, your county, treats me the same. I'm going to make more money on that 5,000 square foot home than I am on a 16. Makes common sense.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because the biggest problem Orange County has, they're not motivated by time or money. The rest of the world does. If we had to function the way government function, oh Lord, we'd be in big trouble.
So and we're going to get to tourist development in just a second, but do you think that's part of the reason why we're seeing a close to net negative population shift in Orange County? Because from what I can see right now, domestic, let's say domestic homeowners, let's say domestic population that we have currently in Orange County seems to be leaving faster than it's coming in domestically. Now, it appears to me that it's being made up for by individuals from overseas in other countries coming into Orange County. But when I see that, I think to myself, there's something wrong in this county right now. If people that are living here or grew up here are choosing to go to Lake or choosing to go to Volusia or Seminole outside of Orange, there's a problem that is not being met or serviced by the local government. Do you feel that same way? And where do you think, does that have anything to do with housing, or is it a deeper issue than that?
Actually, I think exactly. I got a 22-year-old. My
Okay.
daughter doesn't think her future's in this town. Okay. My daughter has said, Mom, Nashville, Charlotte, all these other towns that we're hearing. Here's a confusion. You hear on the news all the time, 1,000 people are moving to Orange County every week, right? But have you ever wondered what type of people are moving here?
Yep.
Because the biggest amount of people, there was an article July 23rd in the Wall Street Journal exactly about what you're saying. They're leaving Orlando and they're leaving Miami, that young group. They're moving to Kentucky. They're moving to these other towns because it's unaffordable. You can be educated, have a degree, get a job. But if that job doesn't pay enough to live, what are you doing? What are you doing wrong here? Yeah. And I don't want to go down tourism, but when 1/3 of our population works in tourism, those doors start limiting. So where are the big companies that are going to pay $100,000? They're not being welcomed here enough. They're not being told to come here. So you got a full thing. You don't have enough opportunity. You got a housing process that is horrible, that on day one, I'm streamlining it. But you also have this issue, like I'm telling you about the boat dogs. Just raise the cost, raise the cost. No customer service, just raise the cost. And we've almost gotten like backwards of what government's supposed to be. Government's supposed to help you, not hinder you. And maybe I'm old school, but that's why I'm running for mayor. I am tired. Oh, you know how many calls I get? I get calls from Walmart, from Zaxby's, big corporations saying, Commissioner, I'm waiting for the permit division. I'm waiting for a final inspection. I'm Walmart. I'm not mom and pop who's building their first little shop. And the county doesn't treat even corporates with the respect of what they do. And trust me, Walmart's not going to put their name or build anything that they're not 100% sure is right. You start saying, it should never take you calling me to help you. Government should be responding to you straight up. That's their number one job. And it's not happening.
Well, I agree with you on that, which is why I wanted to play this clip for you. Anthony, let's go clip number 2 from me talking about my conservative versus liberal view of housing. Okay. This is from the interview, I believe, with Anna Eskamani. Is that correct? Or is this from last week?
Oh, no, this is with...
This is, again, for one of your opponents, all right? This was Chris Messina, I believe, right? This is an interview I did with Chris. It is, and talking about my view. I'd like you to tell me where I'm right or where I'm wrong in terms of housing. I did this as conservative versus liberal. We can frame it however you want. Common sense versus not common sense. I don't care however you want to do it. But you're an expert. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right on this one, okay? Let's play that clip right now. This is a big difference between, I think, conservatives and liberals out there.
Yeah.
Is that I believe that when you are liberal, you look at this and go, here, let's give affordable housing. Affordable housing. Go to your
have a
housing,
big
give
complex.
Cool.
Right.
I look at the first thing to do is let's get high-paying jobs and
absolutely.
then move in the affordable housing so that you give somebody the opportunity to move their way up.
Bingo.
Right? Like this to me is where it's like the difference.
Yeah.
Do you give a handout or do you give a
hand
handout
up
with an expectation of doing more with your life?
Right.
And so if we can get higher paying jobs into Orange County and Orlando, we can filter in, we can funnel in small business owners who want to take an opportunity and a risk on themselves.
Right.
then what they will do is hire people, pay them a good wage, and
Yeah.
bring them out of that transitional housing. But if
Exactly.
there's nobody to hire that individual, they stay in transitional housing or they get back on the streets.
You're spot on. Without a
Alright.
good job,
So
there is no.
where am I missing something? Because I was referring to affordable housing, right? And I think that it's always very convenient for some politicians. We need more affordable housing. Well, of course we need more. I mean, everyone's going to agree that everyone deserves a roof over their head. It's kind of like saying these bland, vanilla statements out there. What I want to know is, am I right in that assessment, or is there something, you're an expert at this, and I mean this. What am I missing? Is there like you're missing this step right here in the process, Patrick? You're almost there, or am I right?
Patrick, you're spot on.
Okay.
Patrick, you're
Well,
spot on. And this is one of the
Hear that,
biggest,
Anthony? God,
this is one of the biggest problems, though. When I told you, remember, 1/3 of our population works in tourism.
okay.
Average wage in tourism, $39,000 a year. That's the problem.
Mhm.
Who can live on $39,000? You barely your college child who's still living at home in his room that he grew up in.
Mhm.
That's the problem. We have a system internally that needs to be fixed for developers and people to build. We don't have the jobs and the payment. People should deserve it. I don't believe that we should just be handing stuff over. That's not our function. That's not what we're supposed to do, because guess what? We're funded by your tax dollars, right? Hand up 100%. Let us help you get in that house. Let us help you first time buyers. Yeah, no problem. But you should be able to sustain your living. And even when you look at homelessness, 50% of our homeless population actually have a job. They're just underemployed.
Mm.
So you're absolutely right. And we have not done enough to bring in those companies, those manufacturing companies, the auto industry. And I don't mean building cars. I'm talking about the service and technician levels of these.
Mhm.
Because guess what? Our high school system runs on how many kids can you get to college. That's how a high school gets graded. How many of your students go to college? Not how many of your students get a good job. Not how many of your students get a tech job or can actually go be an electrician or a plumber or an auto technician and actually make $100,000 a year, but how many go to college?
Mhm.
That's a problem. We're building this stigma. And being born and raised here, right? There is a place called Mid-Florida Tech, right? It's down the road from my house on Oak Ridge Road. So what was it known by when I was in high school? Oh, that's where the kids who couldn't make it in high school go. You go down to Mid-Florida Tech. So we've made like this bad, one of those. My husband only has a high school diploma. He has made more money in his professional life as a contractor when he can hang drywall and he can put a roof on your house and everything than me, who's got a administrative college degree.
Right.
Tells you how backwards we are at minimizing labor and what that brings to the table. Try to hire an HVAC person to come to your house and get an AC fixed today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're spot on, Patrick, but it's not popular. It doesn't fare well, but it's the truth. And that's why we got to be honest with our community right now. We've been living in this world of what can you do for me? What can we do together?
Yeah. There have been people who have been critical of me that I show clips of downtown where individuals are fighting, and they've said that I pick out those clips based on race. And I tell individuals that I don't care what color somebody is. I look at it and go, are you breaking the law or are you not? I also look at the same thing when it comes to homelessness and underemployment. All right. I believe that oftentimes people look at that and they don't give people the benefit of the doubt. They look at where they come from. They look at the color of their skin and they say, that's what that person is capable of. All right. But I believe if you did put the higher paying job in front of somebody and you give them something to ascertain too, that they will go in and do it. They will make more of themselves. Right. But you have to give someone an opportunity to do that. And what I see right now in Orange County, and this is what I think me and you agree, is when you see a third of the jobs are in hospitality, no one sees that ability as to go, I'm going to go do something on my own, because the barrier to entry to hospitality is high, everybody. If you've worked in a hotel, it takes a heck of a long time before you can own the hotel or make a lot of money in the hotel system. I've been behind the counter at Grand Vista at Marriott, okay? Right there next to SeaWorld, where I got to start being a concierge and trying to book tours. It takes a long time in hospitality to make enough money to work your way up. And it doesn't get somebody excited about opportunities when you're in hospitality. When you're working overnight shift at a Marriott, okay, you're not thinking about, as an entrepreneur, what can I do that's going to make me six figures and get me out of here? You're just trying to get by day to day in that job. When you surround people, though, with entrepreneurs and you put them in an environment that fosters that, all of a sudden you get more entrepreneurs who want to go there and they want to rent an office space in downtown and they want to build an area up, in my opinion. But too often, I think that we determine what somebody's abilities and capabilities are by where they come from, color of their skin, what socioeconomic group they're a part of, what, I don't know, sexuality they have. And somehow we make an opinion about what that person can achieve. And I think that it doesn't come down to that at all. I think that everybody genuinely wants to do something with their life. It's just, do they feel like they have purpose and an opportunity to make that happen? And I think in some way, Orange County has really removed that in some way the last 10 years. So many people, I don't feel like they have that passion, that drive, because maybe they don't see where that next step is forward. And sometimes I think the role of government is to get out of the way, foster an environment that allows for that, but don't try to force it upon anybody. Let the people that are going to work hard rise, give them an opportunity, and let the other people fall to the wayside. Because if you don't want to put in the work, then I can't force you to. And again, I'm off on a little bit of a rant right there, but I don't know. I just feel like people in Orange County look at it and there's not a lot of opportunity to make the big bucks. And that worries me.
I think there's a lot of say so to that. I mean, you gotta think of me like I just told you. I was a daughter of immigrants. My parents gave me a good life. I never want to underestimate. My parents used to always say, we're never going to take anything from the government. If we ever get that low, we're going to just drink crackers and tea. That's what my mom would always say. Yeah, they worked 2 jobs. They worked hard. They sent me to school. They sent me to college. And I grew up in a small area, Pine Castle in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Oak Ridge High School. I'm an Oak Ridge High School girl. And I still live in Pine Castle. That's another thing. What do we do when we make it? We leave where we grew up because supposedly we've made it. So we got to leave the community. I did the opposite. I moved 3 blocks from the house I was raised in to raise my own family there. Because guess what? I'm reminded where I come from. And I'm more of a, let's all go together. And hey, it was great to know you. And I'll come back and visit my neighborhood. We've built that stigma thinking, well, we got to leave where we grew up. And I 100%, Patrick, I was nobody. I'm a kid of immigrants who got tired of seeing my local government, what they weren't doing, how I couldn't get a call back, how I couldn't get code enforcement out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, I told you I have a 9-year-old and a 22-year-old. My son was a little surprised, right? And when you were telling me you're 39, I had him at 43, okay? I put my son in a stroller, and for 18 months, I knocked on doors. I ran against 5 other people. It was 6 of us in 2018. And I was nobody. I barely had 2 cents to put together to raise money to do a little mailer. But I worked every single day. And I'm only here because I worked. No one handed it to me. No one recruited me. There was no Democratic or Republican Party saying, hey, Mayra, you should run for office. On the contrary, they were like, why do you want to run for office? And I'm like, I'm not running for you. I'm running for me, for my community. And our message resonated when I started telling my story door after door. And to even think that I'm here at this level to possibly be the next mayor, sometimes it like floors me. But I'm more excited about the job than actually running.
Okay. Well, I like that because I think it's the other way for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I want to come to our next clip right here. All right. Anthony, want to bring up Church Street? Probably one of my most controversial topics that I talk about on this show. Although you're not running to be Orlando mayor, I have been very critical of Orlando's leadership on this show. But I think it speaks to fiscal responsibility, what I'm going to show you here. This is a clip. We're doing the 5.2 million. Very good. So Church Street is being revitalized for a little over 12 million for the short piece of Church Street right there. Okay. The first part of that, phase 1, is under construction right now. It goes from Garland to the railroad tracks, about 500 feet. We went down there and it's $5.2 million that's been allocated for this. When I look at that, I think to myself, holy crap, right? And as somebody who potentially could be the next Orange County mayor, I hope that you can look at this like I do and go, something seems a little bit off here. And I want to ask you about this because I'll show you the clip that we have. And then what we can do is just kind of dissect this one for me. All right. What do you think, Anthony? Okay.
And so, Patrick, I was born here. So Rosie O'Donnell's where we used to go and eat when
Okay,
I was
yeah.
a kid with my parents. It was the best spot to be, was downtown. I remember there's a little bridge, there's a little connector hallway from one building
There
to
is
the
still,
other.
yeah, there's still, yeah.
Not the metal one, the other one where the Olive Garden used to be.
Yeah.
And you could eat there and look out while you were eating there. Must have been like the mid 90s. It was a great place back in the day.
It's empty right now.
Yeah.
You got it? All right, play this clip then for us. Hold on, pause this for a second. I got the wrong clip. This is even better. This is good. All right. I was completely wrong for my audience. I thought we were playing a different clip. This is even freaking better. I'm so happy we get to play this with you, Mayra. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you seen this? Oh boy. This is even better. It's your first time. This was put out last week by the city of Orlando. All right. These are city of Orlando employees that I assume are trying to somehow promote what is happening in downtown Orlando on Church Street. This is what they put together to, I guess, try to advertise that businesses are still open on the street. And I ask this question to everybody, and I'm asking it to you. When this right here is how tax dollars are being spent, I can only imagine the waste and corruption happening at every level, but I'll let you make your own opinion. Let's play it. No, that's a real video. City of Orlando right now sitting on their Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry. Wow.
I just want to know first, like, you're Orange County mayor,
Mhm.
right? I hope we're not putting that like on Orange County's site, right?
No.
Okay. Like, what are
they thinking?
So exactly, what are they thinking, right? And so I went out there and we did a video. That's what I thought I was going to show you. And I'm looking at these businesses, right? And Anthony, you can back me up on this. We're down there, and you understand Church Street used to be popping, everybody. And when we get down there, there are literally businesses sitting outside of their pizza, like of their restaurant, because there's nobody coming in, right? And when I look at what the city is doing here, it's like, hey guys, it's almost belittling this hardship that these businesses are having right here, Mayra. And I wanted to show you that because I think that's the frustration that a lot of Central Florida residents feel. Is like, I'm not being taken seriously right here. And there are real problems that need to be tackled, but I'll leave it to you to give your response on that.
First of all, you're right. So the city is its own municipality, but it's in Orange County. So the reality is the next mayor has to step in and support the city. Whomever that mayor is going to be, by the way, because I know there's an election coming up next year. But here's my point. You as a resident, you don't get to say, hey, I'm driving down this road. I'm in Orange County. Oh, I'm in the city. Oh, I'm back out of Orange County. That's not how this works. Everything should flow. Everything should look good. And they have the Downtown Orlando Partnership, the DTO. They have a CRA. They have so much money. That doesn't make sense. They have actually dedicated money. But
I know.
Why aren't businesses coming? Why aren't they being friendlier? If you're a small shop, you're a skate shop. I used to be in action sports. If you're a skate shop and you want to open up, we should be like, hey, we know it costs this per square foot. We're going to give you a break so you'll come downtown.
Yeah.
And you'll open up your shop. And we should encourage small businesses, little coffee shops, this and that. We need people to come downtown. A lot of major cities on the weekend close down the street, let artists put their art up, musicians play a guitar. Like, gives you that vibe to be like, I want to come downtown. There's nothing. I'll say on my birthday, which is in October, my husband and some friends, we decided to go out to Crest right there, right?
Yeah,
Love Crest. Crest is amazing. When I left Crest, I was like, holy, what is this place? He was like, keep walking. My husband's like, let's go. Walk to the car. It was like unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that we can sit here and just act like it's not happening and act like we're not responsible and act like we're not stepping up. But yet what they've done is they've made the rules so tight, they've squeezed every little business that had a chance of being down there out of there.
Yep.
when the movie theater left, when 7-Eleven left, when Walgreens left. I'm just waiting for Taco Bell to close down right up on Orange Avenue.
It's not going to be long.
It's what are they doing? What's the goal here?
Yeah.
What's the goal?
We agree on that then. And to keep our attention on downtown Orlando, and then we're going to turn to Visit Orlando, because I think it'll be a good transition right here. When I look at downtown Orlando, what frustrates me for people who watch my show is I can go to Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, and there's one thing that's consistent: cranes, progress. They're building buildings, sky rises. And where I don't tend to get along with some of the more progressive or liberals, not saying you are one, I'm saying in general, is there's a lot of always talk about affordable housing, but I also look at where are the sky rises for the $750,000 condo. While I agree we need affordable housing, and that's a great thing, I also think we need luxury housing as well, because that individual is the one who walks their butt down to a bar, an entertainment venue, and drops $1,000 on drinks and food and goes to Crest or does these places. And we need that. And it seems like the leadership that we have at the Orange County and city level are so focused on the disenfranchised that they don't want to help go, hey, we need to bring some higher paying into people that pay high rents, that want the $750,000, $1 million mortgage. We can turn this into a place that those people want to live. I think the priorities have been off by city and county leadership, because I don't see any of those buildings going up anywhere. I'm curious, because I know that so much of you have focused on housing. You understand housing. Why aren't those buildings being built in downtown Orlando?
It's such a great point. They say when you look at cranes, that's when you know a city's happening.
Yeah.
And there are no cranes. Zero cranes. And that is a big factor. And every small business would love to have that $500-700 million condo there, because guess what's going to happen? They're going to spend money locally. Perfect example is Travel and Leisure.
Okay.
They bought the HD Supply business right across Quarter County. You know what? It's 1,000 employees. Guess what they do? They go to the barbershop. They go to all the restaurants downtown. Now, mostly during the day, because they don't live there, right?
Yep.
But they move to Orlando, and everyone under that building and within a block and a half is actually making more business. Why can't it seems like we've almost don't want success at that level. You know, we want you to be successful. We don't want you to be that successful. And what's wrong with that? You need that balance. I tell people all the time, you need that balance in life, because that's attractive to certain people. When you are a business person and you're like, hey, I want to come and open up my shop, like, Travel and Leisure. I want to live downtown. I want a nice area.
Mm-hmm.
The Travel and Leisure president doesn't live downtown.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in Warner Park.
Yeah.
Because there is no place there. He'll come and spend his day there and he'll go to restaurants, but 100%, you need density. When you look at the history of Orlando, it started on the cover of the Sentinel today, their first high rise, which is the old courthouse. Like, we should be having more of that.
Yeah.
Why are we scared of that? That's attractive to people to come see. I was at that 150 year, the fur store, right? That fur store that's on Orange Avenue. It's only open from a certain time till 6 o'clock. They're really cool people. They're the oldest, 1919 was ever opened. And somebody said, what do you think Orlando needs? They're like, we need a designer, a name brand designer. Because he goes, people come to my store and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Or we need one of those, like on HGTV, those wood shop areas that people come to get unique boutique stuff.
Heck yeah.
Why not? I would love that.
Yep.
I would love that. We're so much more than just a tourism industry. And I know that people would come, especially young people. You guys, my daughter, she's always like, oh, what's the best place in town to eat? Not necessarily, the Outback over by a certain area. Where's a nice shop, a nice museum to go check out, a cool coffee shop? Like New York, every block has a different coffee shop, anything you want. Why can't we have that diversity? We have it in our public. Why not have it in our ability to market and have a business here?
Yeah, I agree with you. One of the things, and I completely agree, we need a revitalization of downtown, which leads me to something I want to focus on here, because not a lot of people understand Visit Orlando. All right. I have called Visit Orlando a sham on this show. I've been very critical of the fact that this continues to get funding that is public funding, and they make it sound like it is part of the city of Orlando or Orange County. It is a private company separate from oversight from both Orlando and from Orange County. I've also said before, there's been 0 families in the history of America that were sitting in Kentucky and said, I wasn't sure where to go on vacation this year, honey, but I saw this commercial from Visit Orlando, and I feel like now that would be a great place for us to go. Said 0 families ever in history. We've got billions being spent by Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld, yet we are giving money to an organization that's privately held to advertise for Orlando. When I say it, it sounds like I'm lying. Can you please tell that is what's happening, right?
So for the record, Patrick Carr is 100% right on this.
She's a Democrat, everybody.
Oh,
She just said, I mean,
He is so spot. Take this as a fact confirmed.
okay.
Patrick Carr is 100% right. And
There we go.
and
First time
that
ever.
industry doesn't like me. Clearly, they favored candidates in my race because they don't want to see me in office. Because guess what, Patrick? The next mayor will have control of that contract on their desk. 2028.
2028 is up.
Visit Orlando contract is up.
So what happens in a Mayra administration? You're now mayor of Orange County, and you've got probably 300-page contract that gets thrown in front of you for Visit Orlando. Okay. What happens to that Visit Orlando contract when you are mayor?
First of all, Patrick, I can't stop smiling because you make me feel giddy.
All right. Let's tell me.
So I've already voted no against this contract twice. I'm the one that requested an audit because I knew when you give someone that kind of money, they're usually not good with that money. And guess what we found out? They were. And the most disgusting thing that my board did, but I want to give, out of 7 of us, 2 of them went with me. They gave them a pass. They let them keep the money, didn't even return that money back to the county. They let them keep it and say, well, just do better next time. And by the way, we're going to loosen the rules so that you don't have to be so strict on that money in the future, right? It's the dumbest thing we ever did. I said, how is it that they screwed up a contract? And it's like my son, I have a 9-year-old. My son lies to me and I say, hey, you know what? You shouldn't have lied to me, but next time if you're going to lie, you can lie about this, but not that. No, it's too much money. The state of Florida spends $80 million statewide for advertising. Visit Orlando is expected to get $120 million this year.
For what?
To advertise this. And here's what's worse. Over 50 million of those dollars go to New York, to an advertising firm in New York. It's not even local. They're not even hiring local companies to do the advertising. They'll put a little billboard. Oh, we help this small business. We help that small business. I challenge anyone. If you want to look at that audit, I have it. All over 19,000 entry ledger. And it's going to companies that aren't even in Orlando.
Wow.
But it's too much money. But here's my thing. They contribute 0 to transportation. They use our roads. 21,000 cars are rented every single day in Orange County. 21,000. They don't pay anything besides what they pay in the gas and a toll. They don't contribute to roads. Secondly, police. You go up and down I-Drive, Disney, everywhere. What do you see? Orange County deputies or Orlando Police Department, right? So many police officers because you got to make sure the tourists feel safe, right? Thirdly, our water, all of our resources, what they're using on us. We have a fire station right across the street from the convention center that services tourism that you and I pay for as residents. When does the madness stop?
Yeah.
When does it stop?
So then I feel like any reasonable person looks at something called Visit Orlando and thinks this is not a good allocation of money, right? So why does it keep on passing? You've been a commissioner. It's fair to ask, under the 6 that have been there, this is still passed. Are you the one lone voice against it? Have there been others?
It's been 2 of us. But
Tell me about that.
Can I kind of give you a little bit of history on it?
I want to, yeah.
So originally it was under the convention center. Visit Orlando was actually a division. It wasn't called Visit Orlando. It was like the Orange County Convention Center.
Okay.
But what happened is when you have public records requests, other cities like Vegas and New York and Chicago were doing public records requests on bids that we were given to people who wanted to come do a convention here. So I'll give you an example. You're the home builders. I give you a bid of what it's going to cost you to come here from my convention center. Chicago would get a public records request, see what we gave, and undermine our bid. Made sense, right?
Okay.
So at the
Fair.
time, the mayor said, the only way we can do that is if we create a separate entity that isn't, viable at a public records request. So it was a way to protect the wheeling and dealing. But now they've actually found a loophole. You don't have to. There is a way you can do it, but no one has ever stood up to change it. That's the problem. So what started innocently has gone crazy, and now it's gotten out of control. And they've gone to Tallahassee to undermine us. They've gone to Tallahassee to get a law passed that took away our right to control them, and we fund them. Now, luckily, it got taken down. It was a lawyer here in Orange County who actually was contracted with the county, which we had to fire him, went to Tallahassee to undermine the own county he represented to get a law passed that wouldn't allow us to have a say-so on that contract. But this is insanity. It is absolute insanity. So I am looking forward to it because, one, first and foremost, our roads, they use our roads every day. You got to talk about almost 80 million people in this town that visit us. So that's an average about 250,000 people a day are using our stuff, and they don't help us at all. And then you and I are stuck footing the bill. And that bill gets more expensive and more expensive and more expensive. It's not fair. And you know what? I'm like, you should just help pay. And I tell them, I'm like, the home builders, right? They're not coming here for 8 years. They're going to Vegas. Their number one issue, transportation, right? So if you get better roads and you contribute to us getting better roads, don't we all win? Like visitors will get happy. You and I will be happy. But no, it's a greedy industry. It's a greedy industry. And so it will, when I get elected mayor, one, I'm going to Tallahassee to open up that money to be used for something else. I've already advocated. We've been successful. We got money for UCF, right? They almost ripped my head off because they didn't want, UCF don't have any money. UCF's part of the Big 12. They get football games. People are coming from Colorado. They came for that big game. So they got a little bit of money, comparatively, not much compared to what everyone else gets. Number two, like, let's take care of the needs that are happening here. Transportation. Our police officers. I asked the sheriff, I'm like, if we could get you money, could you do more, hire more cops? He's like, heck yeah. Come on.
So we have, I think what's interesting about Orange County is, let's just take Hillsborough County, larger county, all right, but much less tourism dollars that are coming in. Orange County, about $400 million comes in off this TDT, tourism development tax, which for those of you who are not aware, from what I understand, correct me, 6% of what you pay for a room, let's say at the Marriott or Airbnb, is going to the county for you to be able to fund tourism development. All right. So it has to be spent on tourism, but it's like $400 million, right? It's a lot of money that comes in. And then you take 25% of that and you allocate that towards Visit Orlando. And I think that what a lot of people think when they is like, okay, if we were bringing people from attractions like Buena Vista over to Orlando with those dollars, I can see why we need to fund it, because 72 million people are coming here and we're trying to get 4 to 5 million of them to come out to dinner in downtown Orlando. That makes logical sense to me. But I think what you're telling me, I'm starting to picture this together. There was never this switch, it seems like, from we're in the convention center space to we're in the advertising for downtown Orlando space, Orlando being a part of Orange County. It seems to me that switch never happened right there.
It didn't. And you know what's really bad is there's a lot of small companies along I Drive, right? There's a lot of restaurants, great restaurants, Crest and all that. They don't ever support anything outside of the big names. I'll give you an example. The Pirate Dinner Show downtown. Have you ever been?
I have.
Okay, I like it. My son's 8th birthday party was there. Great space. They get zero advertising. It's almost like if you're not part of the group, you don't get anything. But yet the Pirate Dinner Show as a concierge, that's what you would push.
Yeah, I put it all the time.
They would push it all the time.
I would.
So they make them join, because if you don't join, then you're not part of the club. So they make all these companies join. You better join. You better have that or Visit Orlando sticker on your door as you enter. But they don't help you at all.
So what do you get for joining Visit Orlando?
Nothing.
Because I used to push that show all the time when I worked in Marriott. Yeah. Like there was that, and there was, what was the one, the Knights one?
Yeah, Knights. Oh,
Medieval Times.
Yeah.
Are they a part of it?
Yeah, everyone's a part of it.
God, Medieval Times. That was a good show.
And here's another thing that people don't realize. We actually, our money that we make here helps pay for advertising of Kissimmee,
Mhm.
Osceola County, not even Orange. So you're taking our tax dollars and
So
using, and NASA, Brevard.
how then, like, why? It just seems to me, okay, if I looked at a budget and I was like, whoa, $400 million, Myra. Me and you were like the budget, we're the budget czars now or something. And I mean, you start to sit down, we're like, hey, there's $400 million coming in over here. Then me and you would probably look at this as reasonable people and we would go, this is awesome. We're going to have so much money to do things with, right? And then somebody wants to walk in the door and go, hey, by the way, guys, you're going to see 400 million. You can't do anything with that except for, basically stadiums, or you can make improvements to the convention center, or it's all for tourism stuff. And then me and you would reasonably ask, well, tourists use all these other things, right? So can't we apply the money there? Nah, you can't do that. Okay, then we need to get rid of whatever's restricting us here so we can spend the money elsewhere, right? Why? That seems like very simple. Get rid of that. Is it because Disney? Is it the powers that be there? Who wants to keep this right here? You've been a part of it. Who's the powers that be, though?
The powers that be are tourism, the tourism industry, the hotels, all of them. They don't want it to change. That's why they try to undermine us and go to Tallahassee to make it to where we couldn't change. Luckily, it busted. What you need is a mayor that's going to say, you know what, I'm going to Tallahassee, and I'm not going to bring politics to it. I'm going to say, I need you to free up that money so I could use it in my town. So I can fix the road, so I can fix the highway, so I can get better water, so I can hire more cops, so I can have a fire station and I can have firefighters. That's what you need. And I'm going to do that. I have told everybody, I've challenged everyone running against me. Step up and say you're going to go fight for that money. Step up and say you're not going to allow the same old to keep happening over and over and over again. And you know what? Almost 80% of the public think like you and I, of the people who live here. But it's too attractive. And you got to wonder, why is Disney giving $100,000 to one of my opponents to make sure she wins?
Who?
Stephanie Murphy.
$100,000.
$100,000. That's what I'd like to know.
So Disney is giving this. Is this public knowledge?
Yeah.
So Disney goes and gives $100,000 to one of your opponents.
Yeah.
Now, for people who are not aware, this election for Orange County mayor, from what I could gather, is one of the lowest there's not high dollars coming into this election right now, at least from what I can gather. Cool. But what I'm saying is $100,000, a lot of money.
Yeah.
In a local election, that's a lot.
Well, she's getting a lot of money because she's got Michael Bloomberg
Why
from
is
New
she getting
York,
that kind of money?
because they want to develop past the rural area. We got environmental issues. You got to be able to say we got to protect some development. You can't just sprawl out. You got to build in before you start building out. Remember we talked about the cranes? But you start wondering why the owner of Full Sail, who's her father-in-law, is giving in over $100,000. Why Michael Bloomberg from New York is giving $100,000 to a candidate in Orange County. Why Disney's giving $100,000 to a candidate. Why is Hyatt Brown, the insurance guy, who, by the way, makes a lot of money off of homeowners insurance, is giving her $100,000? Why is a Washington, D.C. PAC giving her almost $250,000 for Orange County?
She answered that question?
No, she just says they trust her.
They trust her to do what?
To lead Orange County.
What has she done before this?
She was a congresswoman in D.C.
For who?
For herself, for Seminole County.
For Seminole County?
Well, she was Winter Park and then Seminole County.
Oh, boy.
That's the kind of money coming in to buy an Orange County mayor seat. That's what I call it, to buy an Orange County mayor seat. And I don't think Orange County is for sale.
Interesting. Who gives to your campaign?
People who live in this town. 90% of my donors can actually vote for me.
Tourism?
I do have friends. No, they don't like me. Patrick, they don't want me in office.
You say you have friends. Who are friends?
I have friends who build homes.
Okay.
I have friends who have small businesses. I have I'm born and raised in this town.
I got you.
Friends who own in Taft. I got daycare owners. I got all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Body shops. It's been great. I love that I get to say 90% of my donors, because I do have family outside of the area, are the ones that have funded my campaign. Sorry.
I feel like me and you have gotten to know each other here. So I'm going to ask you can I give you my personal opinion about something?
Absolutely.
You seem to have good ideas. Okay. But part of me believes that because you are you seem to be pretty common sense, level-headed, which is what I've been told about you coming into this. I'm worried that people don't hear your message in the same way, that if you were more radical, if that makes sense, because you have a common sense, I don't know, thread in you. I think that sucks. This is my short time of getting to know you. I think you genuinely seem like you do really care, which I really didn't know going into sitting down with you, right? I had an opinion about you because there's a Democrat behind your name, and my opinion was wrong. All right. But because of that, I sit here and I look at it and I'm working through this in my head with you in real time. All right. Like, I kind of wish you were louder, like more like F you, like, you know, you're kind of out there, you know. I'm a
mom, Patrick.
I know, but I'm like, I guess some of these ideas that you have seem like reasonable. And when I see reasonable ideas, I'm like, shout that from the rooftops, right? Not like you are just reasonable. And so I'm like, how does that message get amplified when it seems like you're trying to be reasonable about this and going, hey, people, this is where we're at. This is how we need to get here. This is my way of getting it. You might not agree with that. So, okay, there's a compromise. I hope I'm kind of making sense because I'm following my way through the question, but I'm coming at it honestly though. I just wish there were more people who heard reasonable ideas, but reasonable ideas don't make for very good short form snippets of content, right? You need like the stuff that actually jumps off the page. And what you've told me here is reasonable. I probably didn't ask a question there, so I'm not a professional at this, but
can I share?
Please.
So first of all, you know where my roots go, right?
Yeah.
So ever since I was elected, I've been very much in the community. People always tell me I'm very accessible. If you message me on Facebook, I'll respond. When I heard your clip, I'm like, I need to meet him. That's what I told Kevin, right? I'm like, Kevin, I need to meet him. I'm like, oh, I've been listening to him for a long time. He's awesome, right? Because normally nobody wants to take it on. Everyone lives in this little cocoon and like, oh, we're just going to keep going. We're cool. As long as I'm cool, you know, we just move forward. And no one ever thinks about what's coming on around them. And I was essentially just a girl from the neighborhood who was driven, worked hard, and got where I got. And in my role, and I remember I watched your show with Chris, and it said, what would you ask your opponents, right?
That was the third clip. You want to,
you know, and he said he would ask him, why you've been there 10 years. Why haven't you done it? Well, I haven't been here 10 years. This is my first time in office. My two other opponents, yes. One of them has been in office 16 years, you know, between commissioner and clerk of court. The other one was in Washington. Now she wants to pay for the mayorship. I get it. This is the only thing I've run for. This is the only thing I've done. And I'm still me. I'm still a mom. I'm still a wife of a contractor. I'm still that. I'm still the girl in the neighborhood who still goes to the same church she grew up in. And so I still believe, and maybe I'm naive, but I still believe there could be good stuff that happens. And I believe that there could be good government. And I believe in this country. I've been grown up by my parents to believe this is the best country in the world. This is why they came here. And they had me and they told me, and you respect this country, you love this country because you can have anything in this country. And maybe I was naive because I believe them. Mm-hmm. But look where I am. But what I've done in 7 years is I go out with people. I'll do a street cleanup. My daughter once told me, she was 16. She says, Mom, I'm so tired of everyone talking about OBT like it's the worst area of town, like it's trash. We're just people trying to make it. And I said, you're right. What do you want to do? She goes, we should do a cleanup. We did a 5-mile cleanup on OBT. And I said, you recruit kids and I'll get you everything she needs. She recruited 120 teenagers. Great. Right? That to me is a good moment. I think at the end of the day, Patrick, like I told you, if I'm known for being a good commissioner, I must have really sucked because I want to be a good human being, a good wife. I want my husband to still love me. I want my kids to love me and be with me. I want to be a good friend. I want to be all that. But I still believe in this town, and call me crazy. And I don't think I need to sell myself out to do it. Could the unthinkable actually be thinkable? Could someone who stands up for good government actually get elected? We're going to see. But let me tell you, we're knocking on doors. I spent the day making phone calls. I'm all over the place. I'm not going to lose because I didn't work hard. I
love that. I've got a few more questions. We got 10 minutes. You got 10 more minutes. Okay,
yeah,
10 minutes I got here. Okay.
I'm going to
ask some questions that we got here. Mine froze over here, by the way. My Instagram.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So my Instagram froze. We're still live on yours?
Yeah, still live on Facebook. And
Okay, good. Facebook's probably got you. Facebook's got some stuff, I'm sure.
yeah.
All right, we'll get some good questions from Facebook because my damn Instagram froze over here. So I did see some questions that came through. There's some good ones right here. Okay, if you can get a couple good ones from Facebook that people are asking, let's get some good stuff there. Okay, I've got one question for you because you already covered the clip from Chris. All right, Chris is a good guy, by the way. I think you and him would actually get along as people. It seems to me. Maybe you have some different. You might be competing against one another. But it seems to me you all would get along as people.
Absolutely. I actually hope that when I win, Chris will come and join and bring his talent to the table. And I just want to say one last thing on the Chris
Please
thing
talk to me.
is he talks about 10 years. If you know the county charter, the only person that runs the county is the mayor. All 8,000 employees report to the mayor. All the staff reports to the mayor. We are just a legislative body. We don't set policy. We don't set the agenda. We don't set the budget. That's why I'm running for mayor, so that I can make the changes that I want to see. So I just wanted to finish that question.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
There are two other things I want to ask you about that are near and dear to my heart. All right. The first one, you're going to probably kind of snicker at first, but it's a serious one. Critical Mass is the name of the group. All right. This has been operating in Orlando for an extended period of time and in Orange County because it affects Orange County as well. For those who are not aware, Critical Mass is a group of bicycle riders that get together by the hundreds on the last Friday of every month. And those people are not following laws. They're riding through the streets. And the name itself comes from the critical mass of people it takes to overrun a street and not have to follow the law. This has been things that have popped up in cities all across the country for almost 30 years now. Miami's gotten tired of it. Tampa's gotten tired of it. Other cities have done away with it. I'm tired of it because I've gotten stuck behind these jerks. All right. And everybody hates this stuff. I have not seen Orlando do anything about it. I'm sick of it. You grew up in this city. Is it a priority? Is it something you've ever thought about? And it's got to be, if you ever have gotten caught behind these people, they don't give a crap about you, where you have to go, following the law. And I feel like it's about time that somebody does something simply, arrest people who are breaking the law. This seems reasonable to me.
Very reasonable. Remember after COVID, there was this big thing where these motorcycle groups would come into town too.
Yes.
Same thing was happening, remember? And what did the cops start doing in Orange County? I'm not going to talk about OPD.
Talk about
Orange County.
Yep.
Orange County started confiscating those motorcycles and arresting them.
Mhm.
We got to do that again. You know, and sometimes when you look at those videos, those look like very young kids.
They are.
Okay. I gotta say, parents, you got to step in. You got to step in too. These are your children. And I think that, first of all, you need to confiscate the bike, make the parent come down with them before they even get that back. And I'm not big on creating tickets and records on young people because we're sometimes idiots when you're young. Okay.
Sure.
I get it.
I'm not.
Youthful indiscretions is what President Bush used to call it. Right. But there comes a point where you got to step in and say, no, and confiscate it. Confiscate the stuff. Why not?
Yeah.
We did it with motorcycles. We've done it with Hot Wheels.
E-bikes.
E-bikes. Come on. The sheriff's office did it. They did a huge thing where they started taking those cars and selling them and using them. Why are we afraid to stand up for protection and safety? That is the basic thing that you and I expect out of our government.
Yeah, it is. And so I would say to OPD and to the sheriff's office, listen, I don't care if we got to get a joint task force together on bicycles, whatever you all want to do. All right. But I think that as residents, if you want to see law and order, I always refer to the broken windows theory that, when you allow things like that to fester, then people think other things are acceptable. And so when other people on my show have gotten on, I'm like, Patrick, you're really getting on a bunch of bicyclists. No, what I'm doing is that sends a message to a city and to a county about what's acceptable right there.
Right.
And this seems like a reasonable thing when guys are doing wheelies at 5 miles an hour. You're trying to get to work and you can't go anywhere. And no one seems to care about that person while they have to call into work that they're going to be late because 400 bike riders decided they're just going to do whatever they want to do on a Friday evening at 6:30. That is not reasonable to me. So for me, critical mass, I am making it my goal on this show for sheriff's office and our OPD, get together and do something about this. Every reasonable citizen outside of the 450 people who ride on those bikes want to see something done about this.
Right.
That's it.
And I want to say you had a clip of an ambulance, right?
Yes.
So when you see an ambulance going towards the hospital and the lights are off, it usually means it's not critical. When you see an ambulance with full lights going on, because my mom was very ill in the last part of her years, that means it's a critical patient.
Mhm.
How dare you block a critical patient from getting medical care? That's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
So for me, this is like an easy one. I think about when I think about politics, I think sometimes people need to just take the easy wins. Like there are some things we can disagree on, right? But like, come on, folks. 450, 500 people deciding to get together once a month to go ride through the streets. And I hate this joke that people, well, they're there for some exercise. Go to a gym, ride on a bike, or go to a bike path and ride on a bike path. What you really are is you're attention seeking. And you feel like, hey, listen, now that I'm a part of a large group, no one can do anything to me. And so that's all you're doing with these groups. That's all they're trying to do. And that's what bothers me when people think they're above the law while there's somebody sitting there behind them who's like, I'm trying to get to that hospitality job right now. I'm trying to get to that restaurant. I can't be late. And I left 15 minutes early. And now look at this. That
You're
that
right.
just pisses me off.
You're right.
You're not more important than that person.
Nope.
Go do it somewhere else or go get a permit. Go make sure you're following the law. Have police officers that go with you. And they had a nonprofit that sponsored them who said, I'm out of here because it was too dangerous. They saw what was going on and they said, we want no part of this anymore. And to me, that right there is the easy win for politics or politicians that should be taken right there. Anyways, that one kind of pisses me off right now.
And by the way, sheriffs are politicians, so they need to go. They need to go do it.
Leads into my last question I want to ask you right here. All right. Well, that doesn't actually the sheriff thing, but it is one of the things I've been kind of harping on. All right. I want you to help me understand something because I don't understand it besides my research. And this is the library. Okay. The public library downtown. I've been very outspoken against the millions of dollars that have been allocated towards refinishing, refurbishing, revitalizing, whatever you want to say, this library downtown, which I know gets people all pissed off. All right. Like Fahrenheit 451 starts ringing in everyone's head. Okay. I'm not talking about burning books over here. What I am talking about is it just doesn't sit right with me that we have a building that rarely any residents of Orange County or Orlando go to because of safety concerns. We're investing millions into the building to revitalize the inside before we address the problems that are happening about why citizens don't actually go there. Then I started looking at it and I'm like, well, who makes this decision on that? And it appears to me that there are 3 people that are assigned from Orange County. There are 2 people that are assigned from the city of Orlando. So there's a 5-person board. That 5-person board receives money from the county. The amount they receive from the county is determined, the millage rate is determined by the county though. Then they get the money and determine how to spend it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, they have to come and provide a budget, right?
Okay.
So they don't just get to say, hey, here's our money and this is what we're doing. No, everything they do have to provide a budget. So they've reported recently at the county public hearings from their budget and what they're doing. Like, now, I don't know if you know, they no longer do overdue fees. So if your book is late, you don't pay any more of the fees. Their number one thing that they're doing actually is ebooks. So you can actually get ebooks for free. Most people still have an app and they're paying like monthly and it's free if you join the library. What they've tried to do is kind of get current and still offer literacy. Remember I told you my son's getting ready to go to 4th grade. I'm a frequent flyer because my son has AR, accelerated reading. So he has to read about 125 books a year. That's my spot. That's where I go. But I usually have them mailed to me, right? You have to be cognizant of what it's being spent on. Is that the best resource? What they have done though this year is they built one out in Lake Nona and they built one out in Horizon West because those are the 2 areas that have developed. So they've not focused so much on downtown, but actually focused more on getting new places where people can actually access them. I agree. Even when you go downtown, you either have to pay a meter, which by the way is doubling starting October 1, or you have to pay in the garage, which charges like $5. So it doesn't even make sense to go downtown. So, there's some work that needs to be done on that. I know it's a historical area. I get that. But there is a sense of still hoping that people will take that and use it to benefit themselves and ultimately kids. Could we clean that up? Yeah, I think we could.
So I don't want anyone to accuse me of saying things on my show, but then not saying them to you. Okay. I think it's a complete waste of space. All right. Let me break this down for you because I want me and you to have this conversation. You frequent there or about the place. Okay. And
I'm a frequent flyer. Yeah.
And the players there in the game. All right. Here is where I want you to understand. I think there's a lot of people that look at it like I do. And here's how I do. You have the most premium spot in all of downtown. That is that library block. All right. Right there on Central. It is premium real estate in downtown. And you have a building that is butt ugly. All right. It's whatever it is, like what I don't care what kind of architecture people call it, it's ugly. All right. And so you have this kind of prison looking building that nobody will walk on the inside of it. Everybody walks on the other side of the street if you're a resident of Orlando or Orange, because you know you don't want to be on that side until right when it's time to cross. And then you'll go into the building that way. And I look at this and I go, great. I'm not talking about burning the books, everybody. I'm talking about moving the books. Because here's how I look at it. That space right there is a beautiful space for a nice 80-story skyrise with a First Watch, UPS, a nice taco stand or something right there, and a nice bar, restaurant, and a big skyrise with a pool on the top. All right. That's a premium location in downtown Orlando. Am I saying that libraries don't matter? No, but do we need the most premium spot in the heart of downtown to be a building that so few people are able to frequent? I think it needs a change. Move the books somewhere else to a facility, take that space, and let's get that thing developed by private ownership and get some multi-use spaces down there. Give me a yoga studio. I don't care what we got to do. I'm talking about things that begin to build the community right there. And right now it's so stagnant that I don't see any kind of progress when that building is sitting right in the heart of downtown. And you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, everybody. That is, now me and you can disagree on this one, but that's where my passion for it comes from, is I want to see progress in that area.
Patrick, that's a very valid point, actually. And you know what we could even do? We could do a land swap because the value is so high. So it wouldn't even cost us anything to actually move and actually have parking available right next to it so you could go in. I will be honest, I don't go to the downtown library. I don't. I go to the one near my house. In, out, easy, park, pull up, go in, get my books, come out, send my list, and get my stuff in the mail. That's not unreasonable, Patrick. Maybe it is a conversation we need to have. If I become mayor, will you want to join in that conversation?
I'll definitely join in the conversation.
Okay.
Now, I have been very outspoken about it. And am I being a little hyperbolic? Yeah, I am. Okay. There's a little hyperbole here. Am I talking about just taking a bulldozer to the thing like I've said? Maybe eventually. All right. But it's not at the expense of losing books and losing a library. I grew up going to the library. Hey, I can still probably do the Dewey Decimal System. All right. I'm not sure I'd be that great at it. Okay. But let me just throw it out there. But I do believe there's a place for meeting rooms for an individual who's an entrepreneur who wants to, who doesn't have a place to go. I get it. All right. But I think it can be served in other places besides the most premium place of real estate that is still available downtown. I think that can be the hallmark of how you revitalize an area. We've got to look for these opportunities that maybe you're thinking a little bit outside the box and go, all right, this could work right here. And again, that's not talking about doing away with it. It's moving the facility somewhere where you do have better access to it, where somebody can park, walk right in. All right. Instead of right there in the heart of downtown where the access to it's a little bit difficult. Again, just my opinion.
Very, very valid point. And I'm going to be honest, I never thought about it that way. So good stuff. You planted a seed.
All right.
You know
I planted
what they
a
say
seed
about those seeds. Okay.
Let's do it kind of I know time is of the essence right here. Okay. Can we 4 questions, Anthony? You want to do 2 and I'll do 2 from the audience? I'll knock out the first one if that's all right. First one. Looks like it's coming from a veteran here. Okay. Wanted me to ask you about tolls, a toll exemption for disabled veterans on a set income. He said for him, it's just getting out of control right now. Would that be something you'd look at as an Orange County mayor?
First of all, I want to thank you for our service. We don't do enough for our veterans, first and foremost, even as a county and local government. That is more governed by the state, but I think that's a valid thing that we can start working on and going to Tallahassee on. We can't just say, no, that's not how you do things. You've got to try. I tell people all the time, I'm a mom. If I tell my kid no, yes, how about try? We should. And secondly, with all due respect to the person who did that, we don't do enough to honor you. We don't even have a statue at the county to honor the veterans that have died in this county for this country. We don't prioritize them on half of the things we do, and we need to change that. So I do want to change that, and I think that him asking that's valid. Let's take that to Tallahassee and let's champion it together.
I agree with it 1,000%. Thank you very much. When our viewers ask that, Anthony, you want to knock out the next question coming from Facebook or YouTube?
Yeah.
What you got, buddy?
I guess one would be I-4 construction. Like, how do you feel about it right now? And then do you have any plans to fix what is going on right now?
That's a huge, broad question. So
Okay.
I told you I'm on a
Transportation.
I'm on yeah
So
I'm on
go
a
into it.
board. I'm on a board with the governor. And if you really think about it, and Patrick, you'll appreciate this, Central Florida is actually the crossroads for everything. And when you say Central Florida, it kind of goes outside of just Orange County. You got Seminole, Lake, you got 75 that comes along, you got 95 right on the outskirts, I-4, the Wekiva, the 408, the beach line. I still call it the beach line because I'm an old school kid.
Mhm.
It all happens here. This is actually where DOT wants to improve transportation because we're the heart of the state. And we need to get up to Tallahassee and get that money from the federal government. We got to make it easier. People want to look at public transit in different ways. I understand. There should be opportunities where you one day can choose to get into a car as opposed to have to get into a car. But while you're doing that, you can't abandon infrastructure. Because if I told you today all the roads are closed, we'd shut down as a town. So you've got to be reasonable. We can't abandon our roads. We have to continue to look at how public transit can actually work for people. Because a one-way train that only works from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. isn't helping me, isn't helping you. But if we have a train that goes to the airport and we have a train that rides nights and weekends, and we actually get like Advent Health and Orlando to help pay for it, we already subsidize it. You know, you and I already pay $14.4 million a year for Sunrail.
Mm.
We already pay for it. It doesn't do anything for us. Let's actually make it. It's really bad. I compared it to your kid. Your kid can be bad, but he's your kid. You own it. You can't disown your kid. This is it. How about we make it work for us? Because just saying we hate it, and while we still pay for it, we're not gaining any there. But we can't abandon transportation. Transportation is how, outside of cranes, transportation is how communities and cities move forward.
Can we just make it more like the Bright Line? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as how nice it is, like if I go down to Miami and I get on the Bright Line, it's actually a comfortable ride. You go down to, C right there, Terminal C, you get in there, you're right on the train. It's actually pretty convenient and it's well done. It's not that way in other public transportation around Orlando. I was very pleasantly surprised by the Bright Line. Listen, not making money, I get it. Okay, well, that's a different story. But it seems to be like something that I would want to go travel on. When I look at like the Lynx bus system or I look at the train system we have now, public transportation is not something I want to be a part of because of safety issues and convenience issues. You're telling me that we just need to do a better job of prioritizing this stuff.
It's multi-level. First, we got to stop buying these big buses. They're half empty all the time. And you know how much gas and labor it costs to drive those things around town over and over? Smaller Boston, Seattle, Houston, they're doing smaller buses back and forth, get you to a train. If you live within 3 miles of the train, get you to the train.
Yep.
And same thing when you get there. Do you know it's cheaper to Uber someone than it is to put them on a Sunrail?
Wow.
We're paying $46 a ride once you consider all the subsidizing we do with our tax dollars per the ridership. It's insanity. It's insanity. Nobody wants to talk about those numbers. Stop playing this game. Let's be serious. Let's come together. Let's work on it. But let's get private donors to get involved. Because guess what? Advent Health and Orlando Health, that train goes right through their hospital area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they'd love to send their nurses on that train.
Yeah.
But not if they can't get off work and know it's going to be there at 7 p.m.
You got to be consistent.
You got to. So it's going to be holistic. You're going to have to. But we shouldn't be footing this bill. Tourism can help pay for it. The state of Florida, we can stop being confrontational and actually go work with the next governor and the legislature. I already know the Speaker of the House, Sam Garrison.
Yeah.
I said, Mr. Garrison, when I become mayor, can I come work with you to help Central Florida? He said, I look forward to it. Rick Scott actually sent me a note. Said, whatever I can do to help. I was like, oh my God, he might think I might win,
Good.
So it's not always that D that you keep writing down next to my name. It's about someone who actually wants to do something for this town.
All right. I have one final question for you here because you've talked about it, but I'm very interested to hear where you think the role is. The question is, what should the relationship be between SeaWorld, Universal, Disney, and the Orange County mayor?
There shouldn't be. They're
Interesting.
businesses in this town. They're businesses like everyone else. They shouldn't have priority over me. They should have, like any other business owner should be able to come see me. They should too. You don't own this town. We own it. The people who live in this community. And remember, they call me the disruptor because I don't want to just say whatever you want. That's not how I'm going to be. That's not the mayor I'm going to be. And if I don't stand up for something, I don't stand up for nothing.
See, it's interesting to me. And then we'll get a final question here from Anthony. I think like because how would I put this? Let's rewind this. $400 million, right? That is being used for, I don't know, tourism, right? Then I look at that road. Everybody knows it. There's one path for the Disney Express when you get out of MCO, and you got to go down 528, right? And you got to get to I-4, and then you got to get on there and you go down to Disney. It's a disgustingly ugly road, all right? Because that is the view of Orlando I look at. I look at that as being the hallmark, because when you get off in Vegas, there's one road out of that airport, and you're getting on Vegas and you're like, I'm on the strip. I'm there. I can see the strip. It's right. Like I'm here. I can see what I came here for. Orlando's not that way. You're getting on the Magic Express and you're going down that road and you're seeing Billboard and you're seeing Rachel's and you're seeing all, I mean, let's be honest. That's what you're seeing. Okay. Steakhouse, world famous steakhouse.
That's Taft.
All right. There we go. So you're going down, and I'm like, every time I look at it, I'm thinking, man, how beautiful it'd be if trees lined this and families were like, I'm in Orlando. Like, wow, look at this place. Right. But I see commercial buildings and I see warehouses and nothing wows me, Mayra, right? And so I think about how do we get that to be fixed? So if I'm never going to run, I've got a different idea I'll tell you about what I think I can do to effectuate change. It's not going to be through politics, all right? Big announcement coming Wednesday. But what I look at and I say, what if Orange County mayor went to Disney and said, would they be interested in beautifying that road, right? I'm not saying that you work with them, but I'm saying, can you partner and go, hey, we're in this together, everyone. And while you know what, you're as much invested in this as what we are, because yes, your tourists are coming from our airport right now. And don't you want to give them a beautiful experience? To me, I feel like we can work with these parks and we can actually get more out of them than what we're getting for everybody's benefit. Theirs included, right? I include their money and their influence. I don't want to be adversarial with them. Tell me where your thoughts are on that.
I'm the same way. I don't either. I actually think they're a big influence in this town. Come on. I mean, it's the mouse, you know? And the thing is, Patrick, if we make this look beautiful, they benefit, we benefit. What's Disney's number one thing? They want you, when you get to where they're at, you never leave.
Absolutely.
Right? When you're in the parking lot, you're hearing music. I mean, you're hearing like the sound of music and all over. It's heavenly. We tell them we're going to do it from the moment they get off that plane. And by the way, we got to fix the airport. Oh. Our airport is looking shady. Okay. I know I opened up another can.
Yeah, I know.
I came out coming back from a flight and I saw Home Depot buckets taking drips of water from the roof. Yeah. All right. We got to fix the airport. We got to stop this. But secondly, in the bathrooms. But anyway.
I'll tell you the other thing is that none of the damn plugs work. Okay. You go to tell your app, like every other airport, go to Nashville and you want to plug in your laptop at MCO. Not one of those darn plugs works at those seats. And every one of us have had to experience it. I'm like, can I find one plug to plug in my laptop and charge my phone on this? And my guys fly every week. And we're like, God, if MCO just fix those seats.
100%. But it should. You're right. I've gone to Vegas and you see the lights and it's like your eyes just go huge.
Slot machines at the airport.
I know. We need to do that here. Even in California, they do that. Yep. Come on. Like this can be an awesome town for everybody. Not just the ones that visit, but us who live here. Because, I would love that. I would love to get off the plane and go to my house and see this beautiful thing, or bring friends and pick them up from the airports or on their way to my house and be like, wow, this is Orlando. So yes, this is my handout to Disney and to Universal and to SeaWorld. We all want to look great. We all win, because the more valuable we have as a town, the more valuable they are to the people who come.
Yeah, I would go to them and I would say, hey, Universal, you got that Kirkland Road exit, right? Or Kirkman Road exit. Kirkland's that's the place where you go buy.
That's your member's marker. Yeah.
Home goods or whatever it is. Okay. So Kirkman Road, I'd say, hey, Universal, Kirkman Road. Hey, I want you to take Kirkman Road. All right. And then I would go to like Disney and I would go, hey, Disney, Sand Lake Road, you got Sand Lake. Universal, you got the 528 overpass right there, because that's you. All right. And I want you all to go to town on that overpass. And I want you to have Spider-Man going over the thing for Universal. For Disney, I want Pluto going across like he's sliding on a ski or something. And I mean, I want you to go to town. And that way, when somebody is driving down those roads like Universal, Disney, Shamu is jumping over one of them right there. That to me is like inviting private industry into the county and the city to do like, hey, we're in this together, everybody, right?
Yeah.
To me, that gets me excited right there. And that, in my opinion, is not using tourist dollars, but it's to the benefit of the parks as well as to the citizens and to visitors who come to Orlando to see something special. Like, man, I've never seen an overpass like that right there. And to me, that it gets me excited. Just in my thought.
It gets me excited. Patrick, we got a couple things to work on. The library we're going to work on, the motorcycles,
Yep.
and now we're going to talk about how beautiful it's going to look getting on the beach line. We're going to call it the beach line.
Okay,
right?
beach line, yeah.
Okay, well, imagine Lilo like surfing.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all excited.
That would be great. In
That
my opinion.
would. Let's do it. Let's
Great
do it.
stuff. I have one more question, Anthony. Tell me what you got, buddy.
So going back to the library, so when the 18 million renovation budget was there, did anyone oppose of the budget for that? Or was it-
No, we didn't, because it was more internal stuff. I mean, they're doing like great people who go podcast. You can podcast from there, studios on how to learn how to record and stuff. But I don't think it's an opposition, like you said, of what's happening in the library. It's a questioning of, are we using that place for the best place where it could be financially? If we could sell that, if we could take that money, do a land swap, go somewhere where you can actually pull up to the library, I think it makes sense. It's a great conversation to get started. I don't think it's unusual. We're not saying get rid of, but that money was more of the internal programs and what was happening, not necessarily the external of where it's at and what we're doing there. And by the way, some of the biggest problems we have is the city of Orlando owns all the parking garages and they won't let us. There's a parking garage that services Orange County that we have to pay them to park in.
Yeah, I've been very outspoken against the parking fees. I was looking, in fact, Venture X. We were going to make a video today and I was going to release it. Venture X, I'll show it to you after this, but because we decided to scrap it. Okay. They put out an ad. They're like one of those companies, they have a building downtown where you can rent office space. And bless her heart, as my grandmother would say, the looks like the manager of the Venture X Orlando put out an ad and said, we hear people are saying downtown is dead. And I'm thinking, there's only one person out there saying that. Usually it's probably me. But in the video, what you see is an individual that every time she changes scenes to somewhere else in downtown, there's no one behind her. It's like empty. And so you're telling me downtown is not dead, but it looks pretty dead to me right there. And I say that to say, I believe that those small businesses, when I went down there and I was looking at a rental space at Venture X, all right, I went in there and they're like, here's the base rent. And then I had a fee for parking that I had to pay for my employees on top of it. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, now if I had to pay for their parking in a parking garage that goes to the city. And I was thinking, man, I want to go somewhere where my employees can park and I don't have to pay for it, not on top of my rent. And for me, I don't know if they changed that policy. They very well could have. And I hope they did. And it's probably not them who wants it, but they've probably got fees that they have to pay. But like, enough of the parking fees, okay? The garage is probably empty at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I think we can afford to let some people who are working down there park in the garage. Seems reasonable. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's been fun. I hope I at least changed your views a little on that D thing.
Yeah, a little bit. You got some crazies on your side, but we got some crazies over here on the more conservative middle of the road side. I don't really know what I am anymore. I meet people like you and I'm like, okay, I saw the D next to your name. I had this thought about what you are. All right. And yeah, I was wrong. There we go. I was wrong.
Wow.
All right. You changed my mind. All right.
Thank you.
And I tell you, I liked meeting Chris. I've got his hat down there. I'm not putting that out. I'm not supporting any candidates for anything on this show. I'm not being that guy. But I'm going to tell you, I enjoy getting a chance to know you here.
Thank you.
You know, people think that maybe like this is like our first time ever meeting. People walk in here, we sit down and we have this conversation. And I'm going to address something here because I wanted to wait until the end to decide whether I ask this question. I'm not going to ask it because I had a chance to get to know you and it's my effing show. So if anyone has a problem with it, go find another show to follow. That's your problem. Years ago, there was this whole thing with tickets All right. And I had right here where I was going to ask you about it. And for people who have wanted me to ask about that, I have had the chance now to meet you, and I don't feel the need to ask about it. All right. Because I think that this whole thing, whatever happened with nonprofit, I don't feel the need to ask about it. All right. Because that was over a year and a half ago. All right. And nothing in that story right now is meaningful to me. All right. After having a chance to meet you here. But I did have it out here where I was going to talk about that. All right. But I at least want my viewers to know, yeah, okay, I'm aware of the story from a year and a half ago. But I think that if people will listen, that's why I waited here and watch and listen to you, that they will understand that that is not where the focus needs to be. And so people can call me whatever name, call me weak. I need to ask the question, be hard-nosed. I can also look at somebody and I can say, I'm making my own judgment for the person. And that's not what I want to focus my attention on right now. So I was going to, and I was going to harp into that. But in my opinion, that's not where the focus needs to be. All right. The focus needs to be on what I think you can do for Orange County, for Orlando. And the answers you've given me today have been straightforward. And I appreciate that very much. And it's a pleasure getting a chance to know you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Sound good?
Thank you for having me, of course.
Folks, everybody, Mayra, got a chance to know her right here. Please drop some comments in there. If there's something I missed, I screwed up, I didn't ask the tough questions, go ahead and drop them in there. All right. I will read them. Anthony will read them to me. Okay. And we will get down how we can be better at doing this for you. I'm not some seasoned interviewer. I'm just trying to ask questions that come to my mind that I might want to know. Hope we did it justice today. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
You didn't put any restrictions on this. You just said, hey, let's have a conversation. And I think that my viewers will appreciate that.
I appreciate you. And you know what, Patrick, I got to thank you for being bold. Not a lot of people like to be bold nowadays. And it's respectable. And what you brought up today, I'm going to be very honest. I never thought about the library in that way. And you have dropped something in my mind that is already like turning. And what you said about when people arrive, so important. I believe that. I believe that because I think we all win when people enjoy this town as much as we love to live here.
Commissioner, thank you for stopping by. It's a pleasure.
Mayra.
I know. I'm going to say it. All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Until next time, everybody, thank you very much for joining us here on the Patrick Carr Show. We'll be back tomorrow. Another live episode. See you later. Have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.